These rear-wheel drives are raced on tracks in predictable conditions. But what if the track was unpredictable and they were tested against the Magna? With a rally-bred traction system called Quad-Tech all-wheel drive. How would the rear-wheel drives go then? Well, they'd probably go as far as the first corner.
One of the hottest Facebook groups at the moment is Lockdown Skids. Surely you've seen it.
Found this on one of the police.
I don't know about found it. I think we were sent it 50 times, Jordo, in the space of about 3 minutes.
And this is written by the police, mind you. A 34-year-old male from St Albans. Well, straight away, that's giving a few clues away.
Max Doughies and the gravel and shit.
Decided to rip a burnout in Keilor Downs, 2 quality areas.
Hey. Look at this snob from the southeastern suburbs.
I was a north, now I'm back to my...
As you called, you're an Eastie? Eastie snob.
Turned his Bogan Edition V8. Now, they're not joking when they say Bogan Edition. I mean, this thing's got...
I thought they were joking when I read it.
This thing's got customised badges. Turned his Bogan Edition V8 into a weapon of mass destruction when he ploughed into a residential property, also hit an occupant who unfortunately is now in hospital.
Ploughed is an understatement. It looks like he's had a 6-kilometre run-up.
If he's in hospital, he's obviously got COVID.
Oh, yeah. He'd be on the COVID...
Apparently the car just stepped out when it hit a puddle.
Oh, yeah.
But numerous witness reports tell a different story. Apparently a few people said hit a puddle, it was bone dry. It could not be dry conditions.
Now, if there was...
Have a look at the destruction he's caused though. Like, he's gone into this yard, it's decent speed.
If there was the almighty LS motor under the bonnet, I could understand, but does it have some 6-cylinder goodness in there?
No, it's V8.
It is a V8. Well, that's understandable.
That's what I thought.
You can't control that power.
This is LS the world, actually.
I can't get over the destruction. Honestly, you look at it and go, this is a movie set? How the hell does this happen? Just rewind back to what you did, I don't know, 20 years ago.
Well, what was funny, normally the photos too, you see the car going into the property, they've gone in and taken photos from the other side.
Inside.
And there's just fence paling.
That's why it looks funny.
Crap everywhere.
Yeah. It looks like someone's got a forklift and placed it in there. Because you think, how on earth does it end up that far into a property? But the fact that it had the bogan plates on the back, that's a bit of a Siggy Butt brain, that one.
They're gonna call you Siggy Butt brain. Siggy Butt brain.
Speaking of bogans, some I don't know if it's TikTok garbage or something else, but a few people posting vids of they collect their stuff from Bunnings, where they, you're in the area where you pick up the wood and you're leaving.
You can back it in there.
They call this one the snag and skid.
Someone's on burnout in the trade centre. Oh, it's a massive thing on Facebook at the moment, apparently.
It's the latest internet craze that could easily spin out of control.
Snag and skid at Bunnings. So then they're... Snag and skid. So then they're doing, well, you could call it a burnout. It's probably in this instance, I think it looks like a single peeler. He's gone all the way out of the Bunnings car park and then he's just going around the car park. I mean, this is just, listen to that man.
You know, the thing is though, I reckon some of the blokes who work in the wood department down there would just be like,
oh yeah, they would have been filming full vertical video, just all the way out, just laughing.
Oh yeah, son.
Do a sick, see you next Tuesday, you burn it. Is that the same?
No, it's do a burnout, you skid, isn't it? Well, no, I'm screwed.
You screwed the whole thing up.
It comes from China. China.
Cash for clunkers, new calls to get old cars off the road. So this is about, says the car industry is calling on the federal government to introduce an incentive scheme to retire old vehicles, to improve road safety and help the market recover from record low sales. Are you serious? Record low sales help the market. So I'm supposed to hand my car in and then what? Go down to the local Ford dealer and get some new little nugget.
You could go and get a $1 Holden Commodore, the clearance ones.
What if you don't want to buy any of the crap they're selling these days?
You've basically got the choice in Australia. I mean, most countries are pretty similar. The cars are pretty global now, but you've basically got the choice of a Thailand tractor or an SUV.
Thailand tractors.
That's most of the market.
If you cop pole position on the lights these days, it's just diesel clouds out the back and just pedal forward. I don't know what is with the guys driving these things. I think they've got race cars. They're just slow trash boxes.
You can be in pretty much any car, maybe even a Prius, and just take off first, just short shift first, see what this bloke's doing, see the coal rolling, and then just stand on it, and you have got 6 car lengths like that. They are so slow. And you can tell the way they drive. I mean, we've all driven them. As you said, they're not supposed to be flat.
They're rubbish.
100% throttle, 100% of the time. Because they are just junk. I don't know how people drive them. They're so boring. They don't brake, they don't go, they don't handle.
Nah.
I mean, if you want a ute, get an LS. Yeah?
There's only one kind of ute you need. Pretty sure this incentive scheme has failed in most countries. It's stuffed the second-hand car market in the US.
That's true.
I spent a lot of time in the US years ago, and I was amazed at just how low the second-hand car prices were. If you could pick up a killer car for 10 grand US, that would cost a lot more here. I know the exchange rates are different, but I was just surprised at how low their prices were.
Now, some cars go up, some cars go... I just did a George
This is
Bush.
true, though.
I just did a George Bush.
The left hand now knows what the right hand is doing.
It's true though. There are not many new cars that interest me, and the ones that I do, I can't justify buying versus depreciation. That is 100% spot on.
That's why I don't have a brand new car in the driveway right now. There's anything that's remotely interesting. Personally, I just look at it and go, I'm not spending that kind of money for that car, knowing I can buy that car for half the price in about 3 years. Why would you buy one?
Nah.
The depreciation on most new cars now is terrible, because everyone has got this mentality. Oh yeah, I'm due for a new car in 12 months. Why are you due for a new car?
I can't possibly buy a second-hand car. And you go, well, hang on, this car's 4 years old and got 50,000 on it. Oh no, there's something going to go wrong with it, some bull crap they say. And you go, but you're prepared to, I don't know, lose about 3 grand a year for the first 5 years on this thing.
Because to be honest, any car I'm going to want to drive has got to have some sort of performance flavour, angle, like a Renault. Which means automatically you're paying that performance sort of sporty kind of bullshit tax, aren't you? You effectively, that you've got what they normally sell, let's say a $25,000 car, you're buying the performance version for 45.
100%. Think of something like a Nissan, overseas a Sylvia, but here it's a 200SX. That's a classic car they should be selling. That's why it's going to be interesting.
Well, they've got like a 370Z. That's sort of the...
But that thing's a tank. I mean...
what are they new? About 50, I think.
But... It'd be interesting.
They're an old car, though.
Interesting to see what the Toyota 86, if it actually does. It's meant to come out with a boosted engine.
I don't think it is.
Wait a minute.
I think
what happened to that story?
The last reports I've heard is it's getting the NA version of the FA24 Subaru engine.
Disappointed!
Oh, that's exciting.
And the STI obviously is saying
when they're going to sell the turbo.
The Boxer? 400 horsepower FA24.
Really?
Yeah, in the STI.
But they're not going to put that in a BRZ.
No, but apparently that STI is not coming out until late 21. That's another 18 months off. That engine is available in a Subaru at the moment that makes like 190 kilowatts. And people have been putting, that's out of the box, right? People have been putting them in WRXs in the States. Apparently they're making, I know this is US dyno, so probably...
Massive. Sometimes they say huge.
It's a little bit inflated, but they've been making like, as they say, 550 wheel unopened.
Impressive for a bloody Boxer engine.
That's an understatement.
How about cash for conversions? Pull out old engines and convert to BARRAs and LSs tax deductible. It's not a bad point, is it?
That's first prize of that bloke.
Well, I don't know how many. I don't know how many cars you'd be able to fit a BARRA in. LS on the other hand, straight in.
Straight in.
My old cars are better than any new pieces of shit on the road these days. I'm not of the... Right.
Is that the same? They're the same people who say like, nah, old cars are definitely safer than new cars. 100%. 100%. It's like, yeah, no worries, dude. Go and get like a 1970s car and actually put it on an ANCAP crash test.
You can get a 1990s tin can.
Did you see that
Wrap
video?
that around a pole, bent in half.
Actually, I think we've got a video on our second channel. We've got a second YouTube channel if you haven't seen it, fullBOOST Media. There's a video of a new Corolla, it's a few years old now, versus like the classic mid-90s, late 90s shaped Corolla. Look at the difference in carnage on the crash test. But these 70s cars, because they've got heaps of steel,
Yeah,
they don't seem to realise the steel just ends up in the cabin through your guts.
I'm not a fan of the term safety. When a car is deemed less safe, it doesn't have a blind spot and lane departure warning. If you need those, it's not about being car.
That's true.
That is true. Like they ripped on the current Mustang because it only got a 3N cap
Lane
rating.
departure.
It only got a 3N cap rating or something, right? And it was like, then you read into it and go, it has some basic safety features, and they're like blind spot assistance and dumb shit. And you go, all of a sudden it's not 5 stars.
Here's a spoiler alert for you. If you need lane departure, that you can't even keep your car in your lane, go and hand your license in. Seriously, you need lane departure warning on a car.
I find people,
but you could be tired and falling asleep. It's like,
yeah, then you shouldn't be
those
on the
sorts of
road.
people shouldn't be on the road. Get the hell off the
No,
road.
they don't even check their mirrors. All these driving aids are creating crutches for people to
They are.
lean on while driving instead of actually becoming good drivers. They create bad habits. Probably true.
Mm-hmm.
I was following someone here earlier. I reckon over about 10 turns this person used their indicator once. It's like, what are you doing, mate? You're roundabouts, no indicator, turning left.
It's like adaptive cruise control on the freeway. Oh my God, that is painful. The car's just sitting on 70 k's an hour.
Caught on dash cam. This is one of your favourites.
Oh, I love the dash cam. No, I don't have one, Joro. I know you've got one. I'm too much of a tight ASS to go and buy one.
This Sydney driver decided to take on a truck while merging. This flog, remember this bloke?
Oh, this bloke. Oh my God.
Ended up with a $1,400 in fines and 11 demerit points. So almost lost his licence. So they probably thought this bloke 100% has driving offences anyway. We'll give him 11 points. He would have lost his licence.
Hang on, we've got to see the previous 5 minutes footage of what happened. I'll give you the cliff notes. This guy was an impatient flog. Did not want to get in line and wait 3 sets of traffic lights
100%.
like everyone else.
And he thought he saw the truck and thought, there's my opening. I'll just take my nugget, Commodore, up to the front and just cut in. The truck driver thought, he's not getting in. Truck driver
Have you seen who's driving the car? Old mate, Siggy Butt Brain.
Iggy butt brain.
Basically, he's hanging out the window.
on the
have you seen him?
on the way to Centrelink, surely.
And then it's like, oh, we just got to give him the benefit of the doubt. Okay, let's say next time that you decide to accidentally miss your turn because you can only see there's like 65 signs saying you're going to turn onto a major freeway. Oh, screw that, I didn't see them, I don't know what lane to be in. I'll drive all the way to the front. Oh, can I just get in? Oh, thanks mate. But you know what you do? You start brake checking them.
Brake checking a semi-trailer.
A semi-trailer, because you're such a good role model Samaritan on the road, aren't you? This guy's an A-grade flog, and the fact that he got $1,400 and 11 demerit points just shows what a flog he is.
1,400, should just tripled it. Double down on that shit, triple down.
GTFO. Jordo, one question we get, well, I don't know if it's a question or a comment, spoken a lot in YouTube comments, emails, social media, is a lot of the cars we feature, how are they legal? Or they're not a street car because they're not legal. Now, before we start, a lot of these videos, we never touch on the fact whether they're legal or not.
No, it's not really the focus of the video, is it? It's focused on how much power it is or how fast the car is.
But to me, if it's a road-going car and it's registered, and yes, it might run a fast time, whatever motorsport application, and it's driven on the street, for me, how does the old saying go? It's a car and it drives on the street.
It's a street car.
It's a street car, right? Whether it's legal or not, I don't bother getting into it that much, because let's face it, 95% of modified cars are probably not legal.
No. And like, it's a fair question. I got one recently. It was kind of asking how are these huge horsepower cars legal in the fact they've got ECUs on them, they've got custom fabricated parts. Obviously, they're not running factory type emissions. In essence, if your car isn't engineered, technically no, it's not legal.
However, there are quite a few cars, let's say they run 8s, genuine 8-second street car, and I've seen they are fully engineered and they've done an emissions test. Now, on E85, it is possible to get a modified car through. Very different doing it on petrol.
We've actually seen more cars than you think too that actually are engineered and, as you just said, been certified.
Yeah, emissions tested. I'm talking emissions tested, gone through the pits and everything.
Not just mechanic, because mechanical engineering is a bit different. But if you've taken it, and as you said, ethanol was a clean burning fuel, I guess, in comparison to petrol.
It's a game changer.
And it helps a lot with not getting around the laws, you're actually obeying the laws. The car's legal, its emissions is clean.
But I'll be honest, the big difference is a lot of those cars are generally older cars that have a newer engine in them.
100%. They're usually like 1970s, maybe 80s, usually 70s.
Now, you obviously, when unleaded came out in Australia, what was that, around 1986? Emission laws changed a lot, and then from memory they changed again in the mid-90s?
I think in 93, some changes came in, because it's always like the decibel of your exhaust changes depending obviously on your year. I think 93 was one of the points around there.
But like you do see a lot of late model cars, let's say an XR6 Turbo, and you think emissions-wise, how is that legal? To be honest, I don't know. I never really ask.
Asking about insurance, that's another question. Are these cars insured? That's up to the owner. If you've got, I guess, I wouldn't call it exotic insurance, but if insurance like, well, there's a few out there, I won't name them actually, but if you've got in there and you've listed all your mods and they've inspected the car and they're happy to insure it, then the car's insured, and that's why they have such high agree values. You'd be surprised though how many cars, like if we're talking late model cars, not necessarily in standard trim, the car might only be worth 10, 15,000 minus the modifications. But I've seen, and I even have said to people, a lot of people, what insurance have you got? And I've sort of said, yeah. They don't give you an answer. In other words, it's not insured. Oh, we've been offered drives of cars, and you kind of subtly say, well, yeah, it is insured, isn't it? Oh, no. I'm like,
just be careful.
I'm not touching this car. No way.
There are some people even have told me they've effectively got third party. It's a bit of a grey area in the law, because let's say you got third party, so you protect the other car. You have an accident. It may not be a big deal.
Might just be a little rear end tap or something,
right?
Yeah.
But let's say your car's not drivable. Your car then gets towed back to your house. The other guy
gets his car fixed.
Gets his car fixed through your insurance, as it should be, and you repair your car yourself. Now,
and it's up to you. You've got a repair bill. Your car was never insurance, but
the dumb thing is that minor nose to tail had nothing to do with what you've done to the car. But
what if you were brake boosting on the highway?
If your insurance company knew what modifications you had done to the car, it would be null and void. I'd have to think on a lot of occasions. So to answer the question, it's a very open-ended question. But to me, just because let's say a car is illegal in terms of modification, to me that doesn't make it not a street car.
Some of the insurance companies too, I don't know who's writing some of the details. It's like they don't even know anything about cars. I remember looking up one recently. Yeah, I was looking for insurance. That's right. My insurance expired on that Renault. And I was just going around filling some of them in, and it would say, like, has it got any non-standard accessories? And it would have ridiculous things like aftermarket muffler. I swear to God, one of them said rocket booster.
Rocket booster?
It said something absurd like that, and I went, what? But it had like 5 dumb things, and you'd go, okay, is that the only 5 things? You couldn't actually hardly select anything. It was like saying, okay, if it's got a muffler, what? Then what are they going to do? They're not insure it.
Probably almost the most common modification you can find on a Japanese, especially cars from the 90s and the noughties, is like, say, a set of adjustable coilover.
Yeah, it's pretty
struts.
common. Yeah,
that's illegal. Like you can't get it in Victoria anyway. You cannot get a car passed through roadworthy.
Roadworthy with what? Height adjustable or just?
Well, unless they came with an adjustable coilover out of the factory.
So then technically you'd have to then get the car engineered with that suspension in it, wouldn't you?
That's illegal. I mean, but a lot of that stuff flies under the radar because you can't see it, and it doesn't make the car go faster in a straight line. Cars, you know, the legality of a street car seems to only get called into question if it's run a certain time.
Or if it's got a power glide. Apparently, then it's not a street car. But what are your thoughts on the whole street rule stuff? I mean, don't get me wrong. I see cars too. You see them in person, then you see this. Oh, it's the worst thing I've seen is it's not a street car. It's full street legal bra. And you look at the car and you're like, side pipes, slicks, and you're looking going, what exactly is on this car that's actually OEM? Seriously. And then you're going, oh, it's street legal. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, there's a big difference between street driven and street legal.
Yeah, come on.
Taking the PI 55. What do you got there? A bag of Red Spot Specials, seriously.
Speaking of red, fresh off the press yesterday, new red stickers.
Yeah, whatever. Next.
Hoodies?
We've always got hoodies.
Yeah, but now we've got hoodies from extra small all the way.
What the heck size is that?
Fat bastard.
5XL.
5XL?
5XL.
That looks like it's 10XL.
That's a 5XL.
Hey, what about this perla I got?
New beanies, army green.
Have you got anything actual new, or is it just peddling, just shilling the stuff we've already got?
Look at this thing, size 4.
This is pretty much what I'm going to look like after lockdown, Jordo. All the gains are gone.
So we've got from size 4 all the way to yet again.
Just kids.
5XL. What do you reckon? 5XL.
So that was before lockdown, and now this is after lockdown.
This is after lockdown. 5XL.
It could be after lockdown, couldn't it?
Electric cars finally cracked 200 miles an hour,
I
which
wouldn't
is
call that a car.
but any type of vehicle down the quarter mile, they finally cracked 200 miles an hour.
I think it's a four-wheel dragster, a four-wheel car or dragster. Because I think, I could be wrong, I think a electric motorbike is around 200, is that right?
I don't know, but it says here these guys ran 200 miles an hour. It's interesting watching this thing. It only ran a 750.
Yeah,
which
but
if you're
pretty soft out of the start.
Yeah, if you're in a drag racing, a 750 is not indicative of a 200 mile an hour pass. That's easily 6-second pass all day long.
Oh, in a dragster.
In a rail like that, no problem. It didn't. It looked a little bit lazy off the line. Generally, too, electric vehicles, they 8 mile unreal, and then they nose over a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't seen the splits of this, so it's a bit hard to tell what happened. But well done to these guys. But gee,
think of it like torque is like acceleration, where horsepower keeps you moving, essentially.
But you watch this video and you think it's just weird. It's just all you hear is the tyres crinkle and go. Some people will like it. It's just.
Oh, don't get me wrong, it's fast, but it's not exciting.
It's nothing. Oh, you're going to be in the stands and watch this. It's about how much noise it makes.
Where's the two-step, the flame?
Speaking of electric cars, I see Mini have. Well, I think it's actually called a Mini Electric. So basically, that's BMW, isn't it? They come out with an electric version of the Mini.
That's the four-door Mini.
60 grand on road.
But at least it still looks like a Mini.
Oh, it looks pretty normal. It actually looks like a normal. It's a Mini Cooper.
The wheels look a bit different.
It says here it's 14 grand more expensive than the petrol-powered equivalent Mini Cooper S.
I don't mind the look of it. I think it looks fine. It virtually just comes down to what do you want to pay. Hey, the one thing about this one, Jordo, it's not mega slow. A lot of small electric cars, the performance side of it's not that impressive.
60 grand is still a lot of money.
Oh, don't get me wrong, it's a lot of money, but I think it's 0 to 100 in like a low 7.
It says here 7.3, 135 kilowatts.
But that's more indicative of a normal car.
It can do about 230 Ks on a charge.
Which is fine for a small car.
Yeah, I mean, that'll get you around. If you lived in a city, that's fine. People who seem to think you need to...
It's not far enough! Like, seriously, like, I've got a smaller car, and I do a lot of driving around Melbourne. There's not too many days I'd be doing over 200 Ks.
No.
Like, I might drive... Yeah, I quite often do 140, 150. That's pretty...
But a lot of the times when you drive around your city, you think you're going further than you really are. Like, you'll be driving around, because you're doing stop-start, you're not on a freeway all the time. You look down, you've done 50 Ks.
Yeah, but I logbook where I go, right? I know how far things are. A lot of people be like, yeah, I drove there and there and there. It's like 100 Ks. It's like, mate, it's 60 Ks. They've got no idea how far they've driven. If you drive, one side of town to the other with a few detours, you might do 130, 140 Ks. You're not doing 250 Ks like they think they're doing.
I reckon how many of these Mini Electrics do you reckon they're going to sell here? About 3?
Well, they'll sell more than those Renault vans. Did I tell you about that? I was coming onto out of Torquay, back onto that Geelong Ring Road.
And you get stuck behind one?
No, I come around the corner. There's a bit of a roundabout as you come onto the Geelong Ring Road, and I see this van in the distance in the emergency lane. I'm like, what's old mate doing down here? And I'm sort of, I've gone through a couple of gears, so I've gone past him like doing, say, 50 Ks. Speed difference. So I've gone past him a fair bit quicker than what he's going. And as I thought, what's going on here? Is his van broken down? As I went past, I thought, that's one of those electric Renault Kangoos.
Is this the one that does 0 to 100 in like 30 seconds or something?
Yeah. I thought, he's in the left lane.
You reckon he's just got it boarded and he's trying to get speed up?
He knows how crap that van is. And that's
like just unsafe.
That's the $50,000 van and it's twice the price of the petrol version. I reckon that's I think I've seen one other one. Second one I've seen.
That's just A-grade nugget material, isn't it?
It doesn't really live up to the killer name that Renault has in cars. Speaking of new cars, I have still been looking at an RX-8 and people have been flooding the inbox with $3,000 RX-8s. But I tell you right now, I'd rather spend $3.5 grand and buy one that's in immaculate condition than spend $3,300 and it's not so good.
These $3 grand RX-8s, are any of them Series 2s?
No.
Actually, how many series did they make? 2 or 3?
3?
Did
from
they?
memory? Actually, but I don't...
But are they all Series 1s? They're
I'm
all
no
rubbish ones.
RX-8...
Because they do look a little nicer, the later
I
model
don't know
ones.
anything about RX-8s, to be honest.
But the later model ones do look a bit better. They're finished off.
Yeah, 100%. But the majority of ones for sale are Series 1.
Yeah. A few mixed messages too about the 20B comments. People, oh yes it can go in, yes it can't. There's no way that thing's going to be legal.
Realistically, I don't think so. I have seen a couple, and a few people have pointed out, I have seen a couple on straight gas. I'm not doing a straight gas rotary. Ain't happening. Personally, I would rather turbocharge the Renault SS engine.
No, you wouldn't. You'd stick an LS in.
I'd turbocharge the Renault SS engine, and then probably 3 weeks later would stick the LS engine in it.
You'd realise all that money, just rubbish, Renault SS.
You could stick a Subaru engine in it. Imagine the hate mail on that. That'd be actually pretty good, Jordo.
That's just going from full turd to semi-turd, really, isn't it?